Hello everyone. So I use my iPad about 8 to 12 hours per day, sometimes even longer, depending on how much I'm working. And one of the challenges I've had with the iPad or any computer for that matter is the eye strain. Um, Especially with white, bright lights in the morning when I'm working, I usually start getting a headache maybe an hour into my day. And then I do have to take frequent breaks just so the headache doesn't get worse. And I'm always looking for ways to reduce eye fatigue and headache using the iPad. And of course, all of these things are available on the iPhone also because they're both the same operating system. So let's go ahead and check out what the first thing you can do is. It's not actually on this mind map, but I'll show it to you really quick. So a lot of productivity apps, even reading apps, have an option to change the background color to any color you want. So this is an application called iThoughts, and the icon is right over here. So what you're gonna do is come over here. You're gonna go to Style Settings, Canvas, and there you go. You can choose any color of the background that you would want. So this is dark, gray, black. So this really helps out the eye strain. And of course, when you change the background color to a certain color, there might be times when it affects everything else. So in this app, it's not really affecting anything else, but let's check out pages over here. All right. So over here, what you can do is come over here and there's the background option and you can change the background option. So this really helps out. Now, as you can see that the text is black over here. And if we change the background to black, then the black text is not going to appear. Of course, this is red, so it's going to appear. But what you can do is select the text and just change the text color. Sorry, I was going a little bit fast, but you can change the text color over here to any other color that would make things visible. And of course, while you're typing, you can zoom in and zoom out. And what really helps is increasing the text size. All right, there you go. And if you just focus on this, of course, now it looks pretty nice. And when you're submitting your paper for any reason, of course, this is not how you're going to submit it, but my point is that while you're working on something, it may be hours and hours, you can do this to help out your eyes. You can try something similar on the Safari reading mode. So if you're reading something in Safari, you're going to come over here. What you can do is, let's say if you're on an article. Okay, now this is the article over here. Of course, you can zoom in and zoom out and but there's a button over here. If you click it and go to show reader view, what that's gonna do is present the whole article in a very nice manner. Okay, you guys see this right over here? The text is big, the background is black, and the text is white. So this is called the reader mode, and you don't have to tap and then tap this. If it's available, you can just tap and hold over here for about 2 seconds, and it'll go back to the previous format. And in the reader view, you do have a lot of options. So for example, let's say you're in the reader view. Now, what you can do is change the text size over here to your liking. So this is pretty good. And also what you can do is change the background. So this is the white background. It's still in a nicely formatted view. Sepia, gray. And you can even change the font. There we go. So this really helps out when reading in a website. And it's not gonna work on a web page that's not an article. So for example, this is the main website over here. And this website has many articles, as you can see. So it's not gonna work over here because it only works with articles. Let's try to see what happens if we tap and hold this right now. Okay. All right, so, oh, okay. So it did work on this website. So that's pretty good. All right, and then another thing you guys can check out on a website is some websites have their own menu for a dark mode. So over here, for this Mac Stories, if you click on this dark mode over here, it'll change it to the dark mode. Okay. Now let's try out another website. It's called iPadOS. Okay. Now let's see what happens when we click the reader mode on the main web page. Okay, so right now it's not, I'm tapping and holding, but it's not doing it. Now if you go over here, you see that the reader view is not highlighted, so even if you tap on it, it's not going to do anything. But once you enter an article, and if you tap and hold this button, it'll present it in a nicely formatted manner. And of course, if that's not to your liking, you can always change the font and then the background and then the font size. So that's not the only two apps that have some sort of a dark mode. So for example, if you go to Kindle, the Kindle reading app, and if you click on a book over here and go to options over here, as you can see, there are many more options to format the text. So this is the white background, this is the black background, sepia, green, and just many other options. So over here, you can even increase the text size, change the brightness, and then the line spacing. So over here, everything is going to come close together vertically, and over here, everything is going to expand. And there's another app over here. It's called Vital Source Bookshelf. It's for school. So if you come over here, you find the same options. Okay, night mode, dark mode, and changing the text size. Okay, so we took a look at how the apps themselves offer some options on helping out with the eye fatigue. But now we're gonna look at more of how the iPadOS or the iOS itself, the system, can help you out in adjusting the background and adjusting the text. So what we're gonna do is come over here in the settings menu, and over here, you're just gonna type in display and text, and then you're gonna find display and text size. And over here, you're gonna find a lot of options that's gonna determine how your iPad looks. So as you can see, these texts are bold, and I'm not gonna change that option right now because if I change it, the iPad needs to restart before it can take effect. But just to let you guys know, this bold text option helps me out a lot. And this is right underneath the display and size option. So this is system wide, meaning that it doesn't affect one app, it affects all the apps. And then if you come over here, larger text, now we're at a regular text size option, and you can increase the text size. You guys see how that's working out? And that's going to reflect in different apps. Now, it's not going to reflect on a lot of websites because the websites have their own options or their own formats for the text. But this is going to affect all the apps. Okay? And then if this is not big enough for you, you can click over here and go even further. So I use this for a lot of older people that have iPads. I tell them that they can do this, and it really helps out their eyesight because, of course, it's not as good as how it used to be. Okay. So now we're going to come over here, and button shapes is okay. Not too much going on over there. This right over here, increased contrast. So let's see how it affects once we change it. Okay, so you guys see, once you turn it on, right now on 3, 1, 2, 3, look at this accessibility and cancel once I turn it on. 1, 2, 3. Alright, and even the background over here gets a little bit darker. So it helps out a lot. Now this is my favorite mode over here. It's kind of like the dark mode, but not quite. You know, even before we turn on the smart invert mode, let's go to the dark mode and see how that affects things. So in the dark mode, you can find it right over here. And you can turn the dark mode on. Okay. So as you can see, it looks very, very nice. But the thing is, with the dark mode, it doesn't do anything with the background for the website. So for example, over here in the background, of course it's dark, everything looks nice. But even in the dark mode, if you go on Safari and you look at a web page, you can see that over here it's all dark because that's within the system itself. But on the web page, as I was saying earlier, that the web page, they have their own format. So it's gonna look however the site developer wants it to look like. It doesn't do anything with the background. Okay, so even if you click on it, you'll see the picture and everything else is normal. So it doesn't really help out once you're on a website. In fact, the dark mode is pretty much unfinished. Even if you come over here, go to news, you'll see that this looks very nice. Of course, perfect. But once you go in an article with the dark mode, there's a white background again. Okay, now this Apple could have done a better job with this, but they didn't. So now let's go back and check out the smart invert mode. But even before that, we're going to turn off the dark mode. Okay, and we're going to turn on the smart invert. Okay, so it's almost the same thing. Okay, now let's go to the website. And as you can see, that the background is black, just how the dark mode should be, but it's not. And you can see a lot of the pictures just like how it should be. It's not inverted or anything like that. Now let's go to the main website and see how it looks. There we go. It looks perfect. Really helps out my eyes. Okay. But the bad part about this smart invert mode is that you can't use it with the night shift mode, because what happens is at nighttime or in a dark room, this looks very well, but even in the lowest brightness setting, now we're talking about a very dark room, okay? Even the lowest brightness is too bright for this picture, and that also hurts my eyes. So I wish I could use the night mode with the smart invert mode, but if you do it, it'll say, hey, enabling the night shift mode will turn off the smart invert mode. So I wish that didn't happen, but that's how it is for now. Now let's try another website with the smart invert. Okay, we'll go to Touch Arcade. Alright, so this looks, it seems like that the picture is inverted, so it's not perfect. But at least the background is black. So that's pretty good. Now, okay, so let's check out a few other options. Now, the classic invert mode is just like the smart invert mode, but the pictures are always inverted. So I am not sure how that would help somebody, but it's there. And I would rather just use the smart invert mode. You guys can try this out for yourself, but unless you like inverted pictures, I don't really recommend this. Okay, so let's check out color filters over here. So color filters is a little bit like the night shift where there's a yellow hue on the screen, but this just changes the color on the screen. So over here we have greenish / bluish light, and if you prefer that, then you can go ahead with that. Over here we have controls for this, so you can adjust it as you'd like. And here is the hue. It just looks a little bit different. Of course, you can make it darker, lighter, another color. And I don't use this at all, but that's the point of accessibility settings, that something may work for you, but it may not work for another person, and vice versa. So they try to have as much options as possible so they can help out as many people as possible. Over here, I didn't find much difference, and I don't know a lot about these filters, but if you'd like, you can play with all of them. So there you go. Over here, there's a few options over here. I have not understood this all the way. I don't know why this is here, but if you want to play around with it, you can. We'll just turn this off. And then another mode is called reduce white point. So right now we're in a very dark room, and let's say the brightness setting is at the lowest point. Okay, and if this amount of brightness is still too much for you, then you can just tap on this button and the brightness will go down even further. So let's try it on 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay, so let's just toggle it again. On. I'm sorry, that was off. On. And if you want, you can take the slider and move it even darker. Now the iPad is still on, but obviously the screen is off. So just be careful that you don't do this to a point where the iPad's on and you can't see anything. And if you were in that situation, I don't know what would happen. I think you can ask just Siri to increase the brightness. Let's give that a try. Hey Siri, increase brightness.
I made it a bit brighter.
Okay, so there you go. Okay guys, so let's check out this brightness and display setting. And over here, of course, we have the light mode and the dark mode. But what I want to check out over here is the night shift mode. So this is the mode that is kind of like stock. It's built into the iOS and the iPadOS, and it does prompt you when you buy a new phone or when you update the operating system, whether you want it on or off. And a shortcut to this is right over here. This is the night shift mode. So let's say you have this on, and if this intensity of the yellow color is not enough for you, you can adjust the slider over here. So this is medium, and this is high. Okay, so now we're actually gonna focus on audio. So go to the settings menu, and on the top left you'll see just type in speak screen, or just type in speak SC, and the speak screen tab should show up. Okay, now once you tap on it or click on it, you'll see the spoken content page over here, and there's many options over here. It takes a while to get used to all of this. So just take a look at all the options. And now what we're going to do is go to a web page, and you don't have to go to a web page. You can click on any text. So go ahead and select any text. And after you select it, you can tap on speak.
Things are getting weird in the world, which leads us to spend the first 15 minutes or so talking about COVID-19.
Okay, so as you can hear that the iPad was reading this out to you. We're going to go back on the settings screens, and you can change the rate of the speech, and you can also change the voice and the accents. Okay, so let's check out color filters over here. So color filters is a little bit like the night shift, where there's a yellow hue on the screen, but this just changes the color on the screen. So over here we have greenish / bluish light, and if you prefer that, then you can go ahead with that. Over here we have controls for this, so you can adjust it as you'd like. And here is the hue. So it just looks a little bit different. Of course, you can make it darker, lighter, another color. And I don't use this at all, but that's the point of accessibility settings, that something may work for you, but it may not work for another person, and vice versa. So they try to have as much options as possible, so they can help out as many people as possible. Over here, I didn't find much difference, and I don't know a lot about these filters, but if you'd like, you can play with all of them. So there you go. Over here, there's a few options over here. I have not understood this all the way. I don't know why this is here, but if you want to play around with it, you can. We'll just turn this off. And then another mode is called reduce white point. So right now we're in a very dark room, and let's say the brightness setting is at the lowest point. Okay, and if this amount of brightness is still too much for you, then you can just tap on this button, and the brightness will go down even further. So let's try it on 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay, so let's just toggle it again. On. I'm sorry, that was off. On. And if you want, you can take the slider and move it even darker. Now the iPad is still on, but obviously the screen is off. So just be careful that you don't do this to a point where the iPad's on and you can't see anything. And if you were in that situation, I don't know what would happen. I think you can ask just Siri to increase the brightness. Let's give that a try. Hey Siri, increase brightness.
I made it a bit brighter.
Okay, so there you go. And these are the system fonts. You can increase the brightness over there and just reduce this back. Okay guys, so let's check out this brightness and display setting. And over here, of course, we have the light mode and the dark mode. But what I want to check out over here is the night shift mode. So this is the mode that is kind of like stock. It's built into the iOS and the iPadOS, and it does prompt you when you buy a new phone or when you update the operating system, whether you want it on or off. And a shortcut to this is right over here. This is the night shift mode. So let's say you have this on, and if this intensity of the yellow color is not enough for you, you can adjust the slider over here. So this is medium, and this is high. All right, another option we're gonna check out is called speak screen. So just over here, just type in speak screen, and this option is right over here. Just turn this on, and now what this is gonna do is gonna allow the whole web content to be read on the iPad. So instead of just the selected paragraph or the selected text, it's going to find the text on the screen and it's going to keep reading it downwards. So let's go to a web page over here. And if we do this right now, it's going to read everything, not just this text, but it's going to say home, news, review, hot games, and then it'll go through here, but it'll also read things over here. So you kind of have to know how to use this. So what I do is I just go into the reading mode and then I activate it. And the way you activate it is just take two fingers, put it on top of the screen, and scroll down.
Touch Arcade Game
There we
of
go.
the Week. Level head May 1st, 2020.
Okay, and then while you're reading it, there's going to be a small controller over here that's going to show up. You can put this over here, and while it's reading, you can just skip ahead, change the speed. So for example, let's try to skip ahead right now. Okay. All right, so it skips a little bit further. Now let's skip back, see where it goes. All right, so it's not perfect, but you get the idea. And what you can do is, let's say, if it's not working, if it's not going back, you can just stop. Okay, and then you can go up, and then you can restart it. It'll start reading from the top of the screen. So let's see. There we go. Okay, and then you can increase the speed. You can pause it. I'm not sure what this button is. You have to kind of play around with this, but you get the idea. So the next app we're going to check out is called Voice Screen Reader. It's right over here. And this app costs about 10 or 15 bucks, depending on whether it's on sale or not. But basically what it is the ultimate text-to-speech reader. So let's say you're on a Safari website. It has an extension. Okay, let's find it. It's right over here. Save to voice stream. And you're gonna do open. Saving right over here. Go ahead and tap on it. And over here, there's a bunch of options. So the first one is audio settings, then it's font settings. Of course, you can change it to the dark mode. You can just customize it into any way you'd like. You can even change the font. But what it basically is that it'll read it out to you. Now, wherever you tap, it'll start reading from there. So let's double tap over here. Okay. So right now it's reading it out to you. Let's lower the volume, and it'll have the options over here of the audio. If you want to change the speed, you want to change the voice, Extra voices do cost more, but let's say if you want to get started somewhere specific, which is a little bit hard to do with the previous speak screen option that I showed you guys, you can just double tap on it. Okay, double tap again.
Friday afternoon we post the one game that
double tap over here.
With what we've chosen, let's try.
So you guys get the idea. Okay, now let me show you two apps that work with the PDF documents. So one app is called PDF Expert. It's right over here. And let's say you have a PDF and you want it to be read out to you. So you just come over here. And yep, you just turn this on, text to speech. And if you play on this, or you push on this play button, it's going to read it out.
Light injections that touch our...
Okay. Alright, now you have to play around with this and see how it works out, because when I was using it a couple of years ago, it was great when it was starting. But let's say if I wanted to start at a specific section, it would have a hard time doing that. And let's see if the two-finger swipe down feature works from the previous options. It's called the speak screen. Let's see if it works on this app.
My files. iPad photo library. No items. No items. 4:02 p.m. Create PDF.
All right, so it does. Obviously, it was talking in a very fast manner, but you can change the reading, the speed of the reading. Okay, another app over here is called Goodreader. This is the classic over here. We have a PDF over here. And let's say the font is too small. Okay, or let's just say you're on your iPhone. And, obviously you're not going to have all the space. So what you can do is come over here. And this is kind of like the reader mode for the Safari. It takes out all the text from the PDF file. And it just puts it in a text file. And over here, what you can do is also change, the font and then the font size. Okay, as you guys can see, I've made the text a lot bigger. And you can also have it read it out to you.
The sobering facts about fetal alcohol
One of my favorite features is called the zoom feature. Not the display zoom, but the zoom over here. So just to learn this, it takes a while, but let me show you what we can do with this. So obviously you're not looking at my fingers because the screen is being recorded, but if you turn this on, you can zoom in and zoom out anywhere you like, literally anywhere. Okay, so it takes a 3-finger double tap to zoom out. Now let's say I'm using a zoom in feature. There you go. See, I can zoom in to a very high amount. Now how does this work? So if you go to Safari, and let's say you're somewhere on the web page, and it's just not big enough, even if you're zooming in. So I'm using a 2-finger gesture to zoom in, just like how anybody would do it. But let's say for some reason, if you want to zoom in even more, you know what? Let's go to a picture. Then it'll look a little bit better. So let's say we're over here, and we have zoomed in, just like how we usually zoom in, but it's not enough. Now you can use that 3-finger gesture to zoom in even more. Okay, there we go. And this can happen anywhere on the iPad, literally anywhere. So this even works on the home screen. So we know that we cannot zoom in on the home screen, but if you use that 3-finger gesture, you can actually zoom in as you like. There we go. Okay, and this is available on any iOS device. It doesn't matter which one you have. What I like about this is how this feature is used with the keyboard. So for example, if you go to the Notes app, and let's say you want to zoom in, okay, for whatever reason. Alright. Now, see, it brings up the keyboard, but the keyboard is not zoomed in. Once you start typing, it'll actually follow the text. So this makes it very, very nice, especially on some apps where the font is too small, and you're typing and you just want a better view. You can just zoom in and continue typing, and it'll just follow the cursor. Also, what you guys can do to reduce further eye strain on the screen is to mirror the iPad screen on the TV. Now, you will need an Apple TV, which looks like something like this, to make this happen. Or what you can do is go to the Apple store and buy a HDMI connector cable. But it'll do the same work, but you'll have to connect it. And if you're moving your iPad around, the cable kind of gets damaged long term. So Apple TV is the best way to go for this. So right now, obviously it's not being mirrored, but what you can do is just go over here, screen mirroring, and just pick your Apple TV. Mine is Great Room over here. And it should alright, there we go. Okay, it should mirror. Now what I'm gonna do is kind of show you guys how this works. So of course, if I'm moving something over here, it's gonna move over here, just like a mirror. Whatever I'm doing over here, it'll copy it over here. And recently with the new iPads, the lag between the two devices, it's less than 1 second, so it's pretty doable. Okay, and then obviously if you're laying down 6 or 10 feet away from the TV, you're not gonna feel any of the lights hitting your eye. And also, I've tried this with a projector also. So instead of a TV, you just connect the iPad with an Apple TV to a projector, and you can have a 70-inch screen on the wall. And that way, actually, the light from the projector is going towards the wall. I mean, there's no light coming into your eye. So I found out that was a really good way to go also. Okay guys, finally, the thing that really helps me out every day are blue light glasses. So the yellow one, obviously, it has a yellow tint to it. And if you wear it, it looks like it's a night shift mode on full blast. So there you go. Right, so I mean, this is somewhat acceptable, but if I could have it a little bit more clear, then it would be a lot better. So instead of this is my main go-to. Now, I saw YouTube's about this particular blue light eyeglasses, and there was one review in particular that I remember. It was from a channel called Dr. Eye Health, and he recommended the blue light glasses from this company. Now, it doesn't block out 100% of the blue light glasses, but it does block out 80% of them. And when I wore this, first of all, it's very comfortable to wear, and it looks like just regular normal eyeglasses. There's no hue, there's no tint of any sort. And when I wore this, literally the first day, my headaches were gone. Now, take into consideration that, of course, I do use the night shift mode and the smart invert mode and then the zoom mode, just like how I've been talking about. But when I started wearing this, it's been a couple of months now, I never really took it off after that. And even if I'm wearing my own eyeglasses, I just wear this on top of my eyeglasses. So for example, let's say if I'm wearing this, and then what I do is I just go like that, and I just wear it like this. Now, of course, I look like an idiot, and I don't go outside like this, but when I'm in the home, and if I'm using my eyeglasses, then I just put the blue light glasses over my eyeglasses. A lot of times I'm wearing contacts, so it doesn't really matter. But this company is called Cyxus. It's a CY, I believe it's CYXUX. And I'll put a link in the description below. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see it. There we go. Okay. Yeah, these are just perfect. And they were only about $15. I bought one for my mom, and I bought one for my little brother. I told them that, hey, listen, I'm buying this for you, but if you don't use it, if it doesn't help you, then just give it back to me. Because I would rather have it as a backup. But I never got them back. And, my mom uses it every day, and my brother, he just keeps it by his laptop. So, all right, guys, those are all the techniques I use to reduce eye strain. And it's not just about, the light from the screen, but it's also about text size. So you don't have to squint your eyes all the time. All right, have a great day. Okay, guys, so this is honestly my final tip. Okay, no more. I can't believe this video has been going on for so long, but I figured you guys should have just one video explaining as many options as possible, so you guys don't have to watch 100 different videos on YouTube. So I was showing you guys the blue light glasses earlier. Now this is the one which is the clear one. As you can see that the blue light is visible. Now this glass, or this glasses, they block out about 80% of the blue light. Now you can still see, just like regular glasses with these glasses, but they don't give me a headache. But remember those yellow sunglasses I showed you guys? Now watch. Just look at the blue lights, alright? Keep looking. Keep looking. There we go. So this yellow sunglasses, they block out about 98% of the blue light. And, they really do help, or else I wouldn't be wearing them every day. So just check it out. Sunglasses on, sunglasses off. There you go. Okay. All right, goodbye.